a couple of beers and discuss the stadium somewhere in the world and our experiences there. I'm Paul.
And I'm Dave.
And we are excited to be here with you tonight. So before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the Stadium Journey YouTube channel, like this video, and feel free to leave comments. And the official Stadium Journey review of today's venue can be found at stadiumjourney.com, or if you're a bit lazy, the link can be found in the comments below. So let's get rolling. Dave, what are you drinking today?
Well, seeing as we are, going to blow the surprise here, I guess. Seeing as we're in Toronto, I figured I'd go right across the road from the Rogers Centre, and I have a Steam Whistle Premium Pale Ale. So on one of our previous ones, I had a Steam Whistle Pilsner, but the brew house is like literally across the road in the Roundhouse Park, which is a former train roundhouse, and it's not one that you can get in the ballpark, I don't think, but it's definitely a good one.
Nice. And the beer I have today, we picked up on a recent road trip. We were in central Pennsylvania, in the wonderful city of Reading, Pennsylvania. I don't know if anyone's ever called Reading wonderful, but there you go. And we were at the Chatty Monks Brew Pub, and we found this wonderful beer, PA Pride Kolsch beer. Every once in a while, I'll find a beer that just hits all the right notes for me. This one, PA Pride. If you were visiting today's destination, you might be drinking an Ephus Oatmeal Brown Ale from Left Field Brewery, because today, if you haven't guessed from Dave's choice of hat and jerseys in the background, we are going to talk about the Rogers Centre, the home of the Toronto Blue Jays. Before we dive in, let's take a look at the Stadium Vitals. So, Dave, when the Rogers Centre made its debut back in 1989, was it?
1989.
It was heralded as the next big thing, as the modern ballpark. This is the future of baseball stadiums. But time hasn't been so kind to the Rogers Centre, and now it's kind of looked at as its best days are behind it. What's your take on that?
Well, I think it's probably, to be honest, it's probably one of the last stadiums that was built. It built multi-purpose. It was built also for the Toronto Argonauts and concerts, soccer, or whatever else you could possibly fit in there. And it was followed up by, like, really the next two stadiums that were built were New Comiskey, and it was right around the same time. New Comiskey, which U.S. Cellular, guaranteed rate, home of the White Sox in Chicago, and then the Baltimore Orioles, Camden Yards, and that just changed everything because everybody looked at Camden Yards, which was really the first ballpark that was built in a long time. So, Rogers Centre does get I think it gets a bum rap. I'm not going to say that it's one of the best, because it's clearly not. I view it as definitely a trendsetter, and there are a whole lot of things that they did kind of first in Toronto that have been like copycatted all over the place.
Most importantly, the first retractable roof.
Absolutely. And there's been a lot of scuttlebutt in Toronto for the last couple of years that it's time to replace the Rogers Centre. I mean, Rogers has talked about this. Mark Shapiro, one of his big projects when he took over the Blue Jays as president, he was in Cleveland before that. He wanted, replace the skydome, replace the Rogers Centre. And lots of people will talk about how we need a ballpark. We can't have a stadium anymore. We need a ballpark. Well, I can tell you this. Fans of, Toronto FC and the Toronto Argonauts who play at BMO Field, which is on the location where old Exhibition Stadium used to be, will suddenly remember why it was so necessary to put a roof on the Rogers Centre.
Could you be talking about the weather and the wind off of Lake Ontario?
Oh, boy. Yeah, that wind is just nasty cold. Um, there's something about football that you can kind of handle some nasty weather. I don't know what it is. You just feel like it. Yeah, it's rough, tough. Tough guys on the field, tough fans in the stands. We can hack this. Plus, the Canadian Football League is played more. They start in June, so you've got those summer months as well. So yeah, those who do not like the roof are either just children or they have conveniently forgotten what it was like to go to a game at one of the worst stadiums ever in Exhibition Stadium. It was just so bad for baseball. So yeah, the retractable roof, which has now become commonplace in not just places that are wet and cold, like Seattle, like Milwaukee, but places that are hot. Texas just had to get a whole new stadium because it's too hot and they needed a roof. Houston, has a roof.
Yeah, they do. I was there in the hot. Yeah.
So, that was really something that a lot of other places just sort of took away. And it's easy to say, I don't like indoor baseball, but I'm of the mind that indoor baseball is better than rain delay baseball or freeze your booty off baseball. I remember an opening day, March 31st opening day. It was so cold, like, because you got to line up for opening day. Like, oh man, it was my daughter's first opening day, 2003, and like we had to go and sit in the store because it was so cold while we were waiting. So to sit through a game like that, and do I want to go to a game in April in Detroit or in Minnesota? Heck no. But I'll go in Toronto, no problem.
Right. Now, yeah, I've only been to Rogers Center once, but I was lucky enough to get the best of both worlds because I got to see it with the roof closed for a half a game and with the roof open because it stopped. So I got to see, both versions of Rogers Center, and I got to watch the roof open, which was really cool.
Yeah,
so
it's kind of on the long side now, right? Like it's 20 minutes to fully open, and a lot of the newer places are of course much quicker. But there's just something about like the roof's opening, and suddenly it doesn't matter if there's a game on or not. Your entertainment is watching these roof panels slowly move.
And as someone who had never seen a game indoors, it was just something watching the whole process. And yeah, the whole experience right around the Rogers Center, because say what you want about the place, it's got a fantastic location.
Yeah, I would argue with anyone that there is not a better located stadium for anything anywhere. Maybe Madison Square Garden, I'll give you. But it's, the Rogers Center is literally right under the CN Tower, which makes that retractable roof that much better. You can look up and see like the crazy people who are hanging off doing
Holy
that
cow,
edge walk thing. That is just nuts. Not for me.
I think about that and I soil my pants. So yeah, I don't know how people can do that. It was funny when we went. It was a little while ago, so all the kids were still teenagers. So we had trucked all of them, went to Niagara Falls, and while we were there, Pam and I are both huge sports fans, and my oldest son is also a big sports fan. So we're this close to Toronto. Before the days of sports, we're going to see a game. We had one happy kid, 3 miserable kids. But anyway, we were like, all right, before the game, let's go to CN Tower. The 2 girls were all about it. The 2 boys were like, no. So we didn't do it. We ended up exploring the city a little bit instead.
Yeah, it's, right there. Then at the bottom of the CN Tower also is the aquarium, which I guess is fairly new. Up the road, not too far, is the Scotiabank Arena. And Toronto has about as good a theater. It's probably second in North America to New York for theater, if you're a theater person, and that's not too far. You take a good 20-minute, half-hour walk, and you're in the theater district where the Eaton Center is, and you're going to get all that The waterfront is not far. You can go. There's lots of stuff going on. If you're into watching boats and whatnot, all the big yachts are there. You can do that. And there's a ton of places to eat in and around there. Funny, when it opened, Rogers Center, one of the big deals was that concessions were done by McDonald's, which was like huge, and you could get a Big Mac at the game. Now, coming from Exhibition Stadium, where it was like dogs and drinks and like not good dogs. Although, I was a kid, so maybe all dogs are good dogs. I don't know. We never seemed to eat there often. So Rogers Center concessions were like it's McDonald's is like the greatest thing.
Yeah, at McDonald's, you had the Hard Rock. You had all kinds of different things.
Yeah, and that was, I think, another thing that really sort of set itself apart is the number of different viewing options were there, where other places just sort of followed. I mean, they took luxury boxes to a new level. 2 levels of luxury boxes that ring the whole stadium. They had 3 restaurants right in the place. So the Hard Rock was the one that you could access from the outside. You didn't need a ticket or anything like that. They had the Windows restaurant, which was kind of the public buffet sort of thing. And it's still there, sort of. And then they had Sightlines, which was kind of the private club. And now one of those is gone, and they made it like a Mark Viquez social area. So you can kind of stand around, and the bar there is huge. Like the beer list is massive, and lots of people like going there and hanging out. But again, it's, they're the worst seats in the house. They're farthest away from the plate. But people like to go and hang out there. We've done the buffet a few times. It's been like a birthday present for my dad and my mom, and that's been a place that we've enjoyed. Pricey for sure. But yeah, those are things that sort of you never heard about a sit down restaurant with wait service and all that jazz in a ballpark. You never had that.
And now everybody has.
Yeah, everybody's got it. Giant scoreboard, right? The Rogers Center was kind of the first to have the giant video board. The term Jumbotron came from the skydome. That was Sony created the first one. You could build 4 houses with swimming pools on the on the amount of space that it took up if it was flat, of course. And then the hotel, and the hotel is a bit legendary in and of itself. It's gone through a number of different incantations, I guess, and it's currently a Marriott.
And save your pennies if you're interested in
being there. It's really, really expensive.
It's not cheap. Yeah.
Really expensive. And really, really expensive on a game day.
Right.
And you actually have to sign you have to sign a waiver promising to not do certain things with the curtains open during the ball game. So yeah.
And the reason being that clause has been broken many times.
Of course it has. And of all of those things, I would say that the hotel is the one that probably didn't catch. Although, if you look at Atlanta, if you look at St. Louis, hotels are all part of their big ballpark village scene. So
absolutely.
Another thing that was just sort of setting the trend.
Yeah, I remember my first visit there, not really knowing what to expect, but walking in the door and coming in, and it felt like I walked into a mall because of the way the floors were, and the floors were really slippery for some reason. Maybe they had just waxed them, I don't know. But they were shiny, and it seemed like a mall. And then all of a sudden we walked a little bit, and all of a sudden we were on like the 4th level in right field or something, and David Ortiz hit a ball right at us or something. Just such a different experience than anything I had been used to before.
I remember the first time going and just going, wow, this is huge. And Exhibition Stadium was a piecemeal, it was a football stadium with a grandstand built at home plate. And and so many of the seats were bad, and the capacity was low, and the Rogers Center was just wow, and it vaulted the Blue Jays. It really did. They were bringing in 2 million fans at a time when nobody was bringing in 2
Right.
million fans.
Absolutely.
I would say, like, you know, if you could do the time travel thing and you could go anywhere and see anything, I mean, to be at one of those playoff games in 2015, 2016 with the roof closed. I mean, you don't complain about the roof being closed when the fans are so loud they're practically blowing, you know, the roof off. Like the bat flip was it. I love watching that clip just to hear the fans. Like I could just listen to it, just the massive roar. And you're not going to get that at any of those outdoor places because they're outdoor, because that sound just dissipates. It just goes up to the stratosphere. Is there stuff wrong with it? Absolutely. Absolutely. The days of a 47,000, you know, capacity are gone. You know, Toronto being a trendy kind of place, you know, the Blue Jays were the be all end all. I would say that the Blue Jays were more popular than the Maple Leafs in that kind of 80s through 90s era. Now it's difficult to tell because the seasons don't cross all that much, but you know, Blue Jay fever. Oh man, you know, everybody talked Blue Jays, and you know, for us, the closest competitors were like Detroit, that's 3 hours away. You know, Montreal, that's like 8 hours away, and with Montreal leaving, you know, Toronto has become this national. The Blue Jays have become this national team. You know, you hear people talk about, you know, America's team being the Dallas Cowboys or whatever. I mean, the Blue Jays really are Canada's team. The Seattle Mariners hate playing the Blue Jays at home because 10,000 people will make the trek down from Vancouver and just blow the joint out.
So if there's discussions going on to replace Rogers Center, what are they looking to do? Because I've actually heard a plan floated out that they were going to actually tear down Rogers Center and rebuild on that spot.
I would think that would be the best idea if they're really going to go through with tearing the whole thing down. That being said, I don't know. I think they probably missed their mark, and probably what they should have done is taken advantage of the popularity of the Jays in Montreal, and in 2016 they sort of fell off, right? They had their 2-year run. They were at their peak. They were falling off. What they should have done is they should have moved the Jays to Montreal for a year or two if they were going to just tear down that whole thing. But, you know, Rogers is and Rogers Communications is the owner of the Blue Jays. And it's like ESPN owning a team, really. I don't see how they can build a new Rogers Center or a new home for the Blue Jays that's not like right there. And Toronto does not have the empty space to be wiping out things so that they can build a new stadium next door. Front Street has changed so much because it's all these giant condos now that are surrounding the Rogers Center. You can't see the Rogers Center from so far away because it's just surrounded by all these condos. And which is another reason why I'm like, well, you know, they talk about like the landscape being able to see out like a Cincinnati or like a Pittsburgh. What are you going to see? You know, into somebody's bedroom in their condo, right? Like you're going to be looking at the bottom end of condos all over the place now. So, you know, maybe those days are past. To build it out by the airport, I don't see that I don't see that working. Toronto is very much a public transit. The subway is huge. The GO train's big. There are plenty of people who live downtown who have no car or whatever, and to build something out by the airport or like north of the city or something like that, yeah, I don't see it happening. So what happens is going to be a big question mark, or it's wait and see. Who knows?
So I guess there's our look at the Rogers Center. We'll have to keep tuned, as they would say in the broadcasting business, see what happens. But truly one of the more revolutionary venues in pro sports.
It's become unique in an era where we were all talking about cookie cutters and everything's the same. The Rogers Center is not the same. It's not like anything else out there. And what, good or bad, it's different. It's different. Even the seventh inning stretch. I mean, we play Take Me Out to the Ball Game only because it's a directive by Major League Baseball, but it's after we play OK Blue Jays. And that's been the anthem since 1977 when the Chicago White Sox came out with tennis rackets taped to their shoes because there was snow. That first game that cost $3 that everybody.
Well, luckily those days are gone.
Yeah, those days are gone, thankfully. But it's got, whether you like it or whether you don't like it, it's got to be on your bucket list too. I would be just as happy if they went in and they did a big reno and they, found a way to hide some of the concrete, replaced all the seats to like normal person seats to reduce the capacity. Again, I would say it's an expensive ticket. It's not a cheap ticket. There are cheap tickets. They're all in the upper atmosphere. The lower bowl is pretty pricey. So that being said, it should be on your bucket list. If you're a ball fan, you got to go.
All right. And to learn more about the Rogers Center, check out the website, stadiumjourney.com. And if you're enjoying this Obstructed View, check out our other podcasts, Obstructed View and the Mothership, the Stadium Journey podcast on our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, be active social media, all of the social media channels. We enjoy that. And we'll see you soon on the road. Happy Stadium Journeys, everyone. Cheers.
Cheers.